Okay, so the meeting's being recorded. If you know somebody that has to leave early or somebody that missed it, it's going to be recorded and it's going to be posted on the district YouTube channel tomorrow. So not sure how all that works, but we'll make it work. So at our last meeting, I didn't show up. I was having technical difficulties, and I tried to send out something on Parent Square the next day, but let me just kind of share a few things. So I have the privilege of being the interim principal here at Silver Crest, and delighted to be here. I was the administrator in Salem Kaiser for about 30 years. In the last few years, I've been just kind of helping out different places at Willamette ISD for a while. And the last 2 years, I've been at the high school helping with some projects and helping their administrative team there. So when I was asked to be the interim principal, I said, you bet, I would love to. And sometime this spring, and maybe the superintendent's already started, but he's going to go through quite an extensive process to get input from all the stakeholders. And that certainly includes parents as well as staff on what kind of characteristics are we looking for in the permanent principal that's going to be with you for long term. I'm only here for 1 year, and I've got lots of support to make it work. Silver Crest is an amazing place. It's a real sense of community and family, and I'm just delighted to be here. So if you have questions, you can type them in the little chat box, and Christine or Susan or Sean or somebody will make sure I get to those before the end of our session. And so we'll just kind of make sure we get those in there, and we'll make sure we save time. So I've got about 4 or 5 things. I just want to kind of bring you up to date on where we are. One is kind of the daily schedule. So the different teams, the K2 team is looking at a schedule, 3-4 teams looking at a schedule, the 5 through 8 team is looking at a schedule. And we're trying to not have those overlap on top of each other, because we know you might have a second grader and a fifth grader, and we don't want to have them being online face-to-face with a teacher at the same time. So the first part of the morning, hour and a half, whatever it is, the kind of K2 time, and then later in the morning is the 3-4, and then 11:30 for an hour and a half will be the 5 through 8. And so that's kind of the direct face-to-face with teachers. So the student is online, direct instruction. But the rest of the time, there could be some things where a teacher was pushing out some curriculum through Edgenuity for its students to work through. So they're not going to be just online with the teacher for 45 minutes or so in a day, and that's it. They'll have other kind of assignments throughout the day. But they're certainly not going to be face-to-face on the computer for 6 hours either. So we think it's something that is manageable and fits their attention span and fits how we can work with the other grade levels. And then there'll be times when the teacher will making assignments, kind of push out assignments for students to work on, and they can work on it right then, or it's recorded and they can work on it a little bit later, and then with the expectation it's turned in the next morning. And so the teacher could be looking online how a student's doing, kind of clicking in on each student in their class, and they might say, it looks like these 3 students really struggling with this math assignment. I'm going to pull them together this afternoon for kind of an intervention session. So there'll be lots of time during the day where the teacher might pull together a small group, or they'll have some online Edgenuity assignments that they're working through, and the teacher will, in most cases, be kind of overseeing that and looking at it, even though it's not face-to-face instruction. So at a principal's meeting today, they were saying they're getting close to having the Edgenuity to the point where people can actually sign into it and see what it looks like. I've looked at some kind of templates, but haven't gotten into it yet. But I think that's coming. September 14th will be here before we know it, but they're working on it. This is Edgenuity is a new curriculum that is adjusting all the standards, and so teachers have an opportunity to supplement that, but not just kind of throw it out and say, I want to do my own thing. I've got these great units I've been doing for 10 years, but they can certainly supplement it. And it's supposed to be a highly respected curriculum, and the district's purchased the Edgenuity curriculum, and everyone seems to be very positive about it. So that's our curriculum. So the second thing is kind of the meet and greet day, and that is September 10th. And so when we're going to try to organize it that day where maybe in the morning the A through K part of the alphabet, between 10 and 1, they come in, they drop off their packet, and they will have an opportunity to meet and greet their teacher. We don't have all the details worked out on that, but in the back playground area and maybe even in the field, we're hoping it's not raining, but where they can kind of social distancing and wearing masks, they can actually go up to their teacher and get their iPad or Chromebook, and teacher could pull down their mask a little bit and say, hi, so excited to have you on my class list, looking forward to having you here, welcome. So just a little bit of, we want to be able to make that opportunity for teachers to see their students and for the students to see their teacher. So then the second half of the afternoon, like 1 to 4, would be the L through Z. Now, if a parent has a conflict and says, I can't make either one of those, or if they want to flip-flop and do another one, well, that's not going to be a problem. If they say, can't make either one of those, send an email to Danielle, our office manager, and we will make arrangements so that you can drop off and pick up your iPad and hopefully have a chance to touch base with their teacher. So we think that's important. We've got a little bit of time between now and September 10th to work out all those details, but we think that's important. Another thing I want to let you know that we're working on is the internet issue. We've been working with the district technology folks to figure out where are our internet issues. And I think we've identified 6 families that have limited internet, but some. And I think there are like 8 families with no internet. So we're working with the district. Does that mean packets? That's my least favorite. Or does it mean the district's buying some hotspots for those, especially with the limited internet access? Or does it mean they're putting some sort of equipment in a church and busing kids to that church every so often, every other day or every day, or however they can make that work? Our teacher says, hey, if you're going to bus them somewhere, bus them to the school, and we'll put a handful in the gym and a handful in the cafeteria and a handful in the library, so we don't have more than 5 or 6 at a time, but we'll have staff and we have the internet there. We don't know where that's going to land yet. We're saying this is very important to our families. You can't do this kind of work without internet, and so we've tried to not only say this is a problem, we need to do something about it, but we've tried to come up with some possible solutions. So those are the ones that we've run by them and asked them to support us in that. And it's gone to the superintendent, and he's aware of our issues as well. So hopefully we can get something that makes sense resolved before school starts. So, you know, we teachers start next week, 31st. That's the is that next Monday? Whew, that's around the corner, and it's going to be some kind of district-wide online virtual trainings and meetings, and then we're going to spend 6-7 days on training for teachers on how to use the Edgenuity curriculum and how to use the Canvas material or platform. And so a lot of training. So when we get ready to start September 14th, we are ready to go. Let's see. Then as we get closer to the October 16th is the day, November 16th is the day where, assuming the governor says we're meeting the matrix and you can have school to some extent, like half the students enrolled at a time, like maybe half of them here Tuesday, Thursday, and half of them here Wednesday, Friday, whatever it might be. And so I think sometime in October, the district will make some decisions on when that can happen and what it's going to look like. But for the first couple of months, we're starting with just this online. We don't want to call it distance learning like last year. We're calling it comprehensive distance learning because it's a lot more rigor because of the Edgenuity curriculum. But hopefully we have some things set up where kids can feel like they're successful. So you were able to join this meeting with through Parent Square. We think the next step is that individual teachers will be able to connect with their individual families that they have in their classroom. So they could send an email, just update on here's some information, or here's what we might need for school supplies, or they can also send a text. A lot of times, if you're like me, you probably read a text faster than you read an email. That's easier to get to. So we think that is another resource that's within Parent Square. And when I send out my next message to you on Parent Square, I'll have more detail on that. But I think it's going to give us a lot of resources. I briefly mentioned school supplies. You know, we're kind of all over the board on what that looks like. We don't want to charge parents $30, send us $30 and we'll buy the school supplies for you, for your family. Don't want to do that. But we do think there's some kind of expectations that for your child to be successful at home on his learning station, wherever it is, in bedroom or in the kitchen or wherever it might be, here's some kind of basic things that he or she will probably need. So we're hoping to, in the next few days, get that list out pretty specific to each grade level. So individual teacher will send out, here's what we need, here's what would be nice if you could provide for your child. There might be some other things that, especially as we hopefully get to school on November 16th, that we'll be adding some things. And if a parent says, hey, that's just going to create a hardship for me to purchase those, if you would please email Daniel, our office manager, and we will make sure that we get families the supplies that the child will need. We want to take care of you with that. So we're going to get more information out on that. I'm going to ask teachers to help with that, and we're still working on trying to figure out what kind of resources can we give to teachers if they want to purchase some things to be able to get to students as well. So that's a little bit up in the air, but we're going to get resolved soon. But certainly before September 14th, when the first day of classes. So those are the things that I had on my list. Are there questions of me? And if I don't know the answer, I know that John and Christine and Susan and Jen will probably help me. So any questions from parents or teachers? Are there some things that, hey, you didn't mention, Ed, but I think parents want to know? Oh, I guess there are some things up in the chat box, so let me look at those. Yeah, okay, people wanting to get in, but they can't let in. Sometimes something will click up, said somebody waiting to be admitted, and when I see those, I always hit admit, so don't know how to adjust that. Yeah, maybe they're using a different account. Yeah, sometimes if they're using a computer that's outside the district, like a Gmail account, they can get in. If the kids aren't able to make it at the certain times assigned to their class. Okay, good question. So the good part about these is that we are recording everything. So if a teacher is working with their students, during that time that they're working face-to-face online, that's all recorded. And then, so a student, doctor's appointment, dental appointment, whatever it is, they can access that recording, view it, do the work that might be assigned, and hand it in by the next morning. But everything is going to be recorded. Good question. Other questions? Mason, did you have a question, buddy?
I have a question.
Sure.
This is Mason's mom, Jessica. And I might have missed it. How soon can we expect to have that time for that we'll know when our 5th through 8th graders are supposed to be on?
Yeah.
How soon are you looking at knowing
We're
that
close. I've sent the teachers 2 or 3 examples that other schools, like not only in our area, like Victor Point and Scotts Mills and some others, but some that are like Portland and Hillsborough, some examples for a look at. The teachers leaders are looking to come up with kind of a template or a draft by this Friday. But my guess is that K2 folks, students are in the morning, and then a little bit later, the 3, 4, and then after that is the 5 through 8. But exact times, I'm not sure, but we're hoping to have by this Friday, here's a draft, have a chance to noodle it, and hopefully next week I can get that out to the parents. Other questions? Oh, here's another thing. On that, 2 things regarding volunteers. On that greet and meet day, we certainly don't want to take away from your time when you want to go with your child, go with Mason to meet Mr. Poole. But if we have some parents that say, hey, I could volunteer in the morning or I can volunteer in the afternoon, we're wanting to be able to have this organized so that there's a kind of a traffic pattern where people go through with maybe on a walkie-talkie and say so-and-so's here, so that we have kind of a good flow where we know when we're picking up things, when we're dropping off, and where they go, and we can have a little map of saying, okay, Mr. Poole is over here, Mrs. Sears over here, that kind of thing. So if you want to help with that, if you let Danielle know, we're certainly looking for some volunteers. And then the last part about volunteers is that if you volunteered in your child's classroom in the past and you'd like to do that again, I think that's something that you connect with your child's teacher about. They may say, I think I got it, or boy, during this time, as they're doing their work, they're on assignment, I'm going to be kind of viewing those and looking at them. But if I say, boy, these 2 kids, if they could get in their own Google Meet with a parent volunteer or one of our instructional aides to kind of go through that math lesson, figure out where am I stuck, that would be very helpful. So if that's something you're interested in, if you again let Daniel know, and we will try to come up with a list. But I think during this crazy time, and none of us are happy about being here, but we got to make the best of it and give kids every opportunity they can to learn. And so we're going to need everybody to help us pull this together. It's not going to be easy, but we're not going to just go through the motions and throw it out there. And if you get it, great. If you don't, we present it. We're going to be very diligent about checking in on every student as they're doing their work, completing their work, and how are they doing, and what are we going to do about it? Do we say, here's where you got stuck, or I see you just didn't do that. Hey, Betty, we need you to be engaged and complete that work. I want you to be ready for the next grade next year. Mason, I want you ready for high school at Silverton High School next year. Good question. Other thing?
Carter had a question.
Okay.
Carter has a question on the notes.
Oh, good question, Carter. Carter's question is, if we're doing online all year, do we still attend these meetings? I don't know. The superintendent has said for the first month, and I think we've only done 2 of these, and the first one wasn't very successful with me. But for the first month, provide this opportunity for parents to kind of ask questions and hear any updates. At some point, I think it might be redundant, but certainly let's plan on next week. and I will continue to give you updates as much as possible. But I'm thinking probably the next 2 weeks, and then we'll play it by ear for there after that. You bet. Anything for the good of the order? All right. So I'm going to end the recording here in a minute. I'm going to post it so it'll be online tomorrow. And again, it's my pleasure to be here. What a great place. And I love the drive up the hill. I'm wondering about it a little bit in December when it's icy and snowy, but what a great place to be.
Ed, you have another question?
Special needs kids. Yes, in fact, I've been talking with not only Sheldon, but also with Dana, the special ed director for the district today. And I think the governor has made some allowances for kids with special needs to be able to come in the building early. And I'm not sure what that looks like. I know Sheldon's been talking with them, and they're trying to figure out what that looks like and how we're going to do that, how we're going to have an IEP review, those kinds of things. So yes, but what it looks like and how soon, I'm not sure. Certainly before the November 16th, but probably not September 14th in the next 2 weeks from now either. Good question.
Aubrey has a question.
Okay.
Too, you haven't answered yet.
Good question, Aubrey. Well, and again, we're looking at several different models, but I'm guessing that let's take the K2 kids. They're in the morning, 3, 4, kind of a little bit later in the morning, and then 5 through 8, 11:30 to 1:30 or whatever that is. So in the morning, I'm guessing hour and a half is all that it would be direct face-to-face. Hey, everybody in my class. Mrs. Kapner says, hey, you first graders, I need everybody attention, online, camera on, listening. We're going to go through this material. I'm going to present it, and then we're going to make some assignments. So that part is kind of the online. Then the rest of the day is really up to you as a parent and the student. Do they, as Mrs. Kapner is kind of pushing out some assignments that are on Edgenuity, some work to be done, some assignments, whether it's English language arts or whether it's math or maybe writing, whatever it might be, that it gets pushed out. And then they do when they want. They could, as it's pushed out, start working on it, get it done, hit submit, or they could say, I'm going with mom and dad to Costco, and I'll do that this afternoon, this evening, tonight before I go to bed. And so that part where it's not, I think the term is synchronous. Synchronous teaching learning is when the teacher is teaching and the students are online, listening, engaged. The asynchronous is more here we're pushing out these assignments, you get them done as you can. I don't think that work is going to take more than an additional hour. But to be honest, I haven't been on Edgenuity yet to see what some of those lessons look like. But we're trying to find a balance that works for kids and works for parents. And we know the extreme of face-to-face on and on and on for a long time, and then here's a whole bunch of assignments and going to take you all afternoon and evening to get them done. We don't want that. The other extreme we don't want of, hey, we're checking in, everyone doing okay, here's a little bit of 15-minute assignment and we're done. So there's a balance where it seems to be just the right amount, and we're trying to find that. So we're looking at some models, trying to get everyone's input on what seems to work. And that's why we're looking at some models in town, as well as some models in Portland and Hillsborough as well. We want to have a balance where we're not overwhelming them, but also we want it to be certainly more rigorous than it was last year with distance learning. We want it to be comprehensive distance learning. And so that means we have a curriculum and some standards, and we're going to need to do some things to meet those. Aubrey, I hope that kind of answers. But that's a great question. Other things? Sean, did I miss anything?
We are, as a teaching staff, just to let all you parents know, we are going to work really hard, and we're going to be in communication, and you just let us know, parents, what you need. We're going to do our best for you.
Perfect. Thanks, Sean. Jen, Christine, Susan, anything else I missed?
Oh, I was just going to put a quick plug in for getting a quick video clip from our students, no more than 15 seconds of our kids dancing. And we're going to set that to music and make it for a fun back to school video.
Thanks, Jen. You know, I think it's going to be so important this year, more than ever before, is that we do some things to make it interesting and fun and entertaining. And I'm not much of a dancer, but I think we have to be a little bit crazy. I mean, if we make this boring, they're going to disengage and pretend like they're listening and not be engaged. So I like that idea, Jen, and anything else we can do to really get kids connected. We're going to have to have our A game this year. Anything else? All right, I'm going to end recording, get it posted for tomorrow, and we will, as we get more things kind of sorted out, we will stay in touch.
Ed, can I talk to you and Sean after everybody's gone?
Sure. Okay. Hey, thank you very much. So I guess I'm going to end the recording, though. Stop recording. Okay.